Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of what is the Arsenal News Show. Joining you every morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Thank you so much, as always, for making this a part of your morning routines. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Let's jump into the chat box, of course, as always. Say good morning to people joining us. Black Shine, good morning to you, to Alex, to Leopold, to Harrison, to Amira. I'm just going to jump onto YouTube as well, because often what StreamYard likes to do is just steal people of the opportunity of going first, but it hasn't today. Indeed, the guys are indeed jumping in there first. It's like, if I don't see Matt G or Penny Ween in the first few seconds, I'm like, something must be wrong. But no, must be sleeping, oversleeping today. Olu, good morning to you. To Kaiser, to Stevie, to Damien, to CT. There's Matt G. Good morning to you. Dominic, good morning. Good trying to get a shout out. There you go. You got yours. Bjorn again, Jose, Sandman, Marcus. Good morning, David, Dubbo, and Johnny as well. Thank you so much, guys, as always. Yes. If you have any thoughts on anything we discussed today, please make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. We've got a few things to talk about and then a bit of a announcement again, another one of those towards the end of part one. But without further ado, let's crack on with today's show. We start off with Michael Keane costing Spurs 2 points, and certainly it was an entertaining game. 2 red cards, 2 goals, including a 90th minute equaliser from, as I say, Michael Keane, which means that now Spurs sitting very, very vulnerable in that 4th place in the table. Newcastle on the same amount of points, but a greater goal difference, having played 2 games left than Spurs, and Manchester United sitting on the same number of points as Tottenham, having also played 2 games left. Meanwhile, Brighton sits 7 points off Spurs in 6th, but they've played 3 games left. It is going to be a very, very interesting end to the season, and one that I hope is damaging beyond belief for our North London rivals, who could fall out of Champions League contention while Arsenal push towards a potential title win. Fantastic stuff. If you haven't seen Michael Keane's goal, I recommend you go and find it. Absolutely brilliant strike on goal, nearly as good as Katie McCabe's at the weekend as well, but not as good. Katie's was far better, but Michael Keane's strike, very good indeed. And yeah, the Kane Decore situation, it's embarrassing. It's definitely a red card, don't get me wrong, but it's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing from Kane going down like he did. But I suppose you've got to try and highlight the contact, if you like. Absolutely indeed. But yeah, it was embarrassing to see him go down like he did. Not surprising in any way, shape, or form, but embarrassing. So there you go. Everton get a point against Spurs, which actually, from their perspective, takes them out of the bottom 3. They've moved up, and shows you how close it is, because a draw took them out of the bottom 3 and moved them up to 15th place. They are one of 4 teams on 27 points. West Ham, Everton, Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth all on 27. Leeds in 18th on 26. Leicester in 19th on 25. And Southampton bottom with 23. Wolves on in 13th place on 28. And Palace in 12th on 30. Chelsea, maybe they're not out of it. They're only 12 points off the bottom. They're closer to the bottom than they are. Actually, they're the same amount of points to the relegation zone as they are to the top 4, which is a great irony that I'm absolutely loving seeing. Now, midweek Premier League action tonight, of course. You can watch Bournemouth against Brighton, should you have the ability to do so. Leeds will also be playing Nottingham Forest, and Leicester will be playing Aston Villa. But the big one that Arsenal fans should be keeping an eye on tonight, of course, is Chelsea's game against Liverpool. Managerless Chelsea taking on Liverpool ahead of Arsenal's game against Liverpool on Sunday. Not really sure what we want. The irony is that we probably want a Chelsea win, just kind of, really kind of double down on Liverpool's defeat against Man City, get them in bad form. Don't want them necessarily responding to that and then going into Arsenal's with good form. We'd rather, I think, that they lost. Think about our games against Everton and Brentford before we played City. We lost against Everton, we drew against Brentford, and then we couldn't quite do the business against Man City. And I think maybe if they fail to win this game, Liverpool, it could have the same effect and put more pressure on them going into that game against Arsenal on Sunday. So I suppose we want probably a draw. I think a draw is what we want. But a Chelsea win or a draw is probably what I'd prefer in the context of our season and what we're looking to do and what we've got coming up But a draw maybe is the best result for all parties involved, for us anyway. I don't really care about Liverpool or Chelsea's ideals, but certainly ours. But that's tonight's Premier League action. There's more to come this week. Of course, Arsenal out of the European competition and out of the FA Cup early means we don't have these double game weeks, if you like. Now, suggestions are on Reddit, according to Arseblog, that suggestions are that Arsenal will indeed wear their brand new home kit. This is the suggestion of what the home kit looks like. We haven't had it officially confirmed, but it's been out and everywhere. You can't really move without seeing this kit somewhere advertised. And apparently, just like last season, Arsenal could end up lifting, fingers crossed, touching wood, Premier League title in the brand new home kit for next season, which includes, of course, the gold. References to the Invincible season, which, of course, 2023-24 season will be the 20th anniversary of the 03-04 season as well. So it makes sense that we got a bit of gold on the home kit. Christian says, why change the kit if we're winning? We did it last season, to be fair, and we won very comfortably against Everton on the final day. So I think the kit's certainly growing on me. I prefer it to this season's home kit. I'm not a big fan of this season's home kit. I'm not a fan of collars, like ones that really stick up. Much prefer a crew neck on a football shirt. Really not a fan of collars on shirts at all. So yeah, this one is definitely a lot more up my streets, and I will certainly be purchasing this as soon as feasibly possible. Rafael Leao continues, obviously, and we've seen him linked with Arsenal in the past, but his deal and contract discussions with AC Milan are said to continually be stalling. It's my prediction, of course, that Arsenal will still look to join the race to sign a forward in the summer. Who that forward is, we're not 100% sure, of course, but Fabrizio Romano says that talks between AC Milan and Rafael Leao continue to go on. However, there doesn't look to be necessarily a conclusion to these talks as of yet in sight. We wait to see if that indeed will change. Moving forward to our next story and our headline story of the day, updates on the injury and contract fronts regarding William Saliba. The Frenchman, of course, as we know, had a back injury. It's said that the club, as my understanding now, is they are going to take things very carefully. Yes, they're going to try and push him, but they are going to take things very carefully. It's not a case of they'll just throw him in against Liverpool unless they are 100% sure that he can cope with that. And I think, as we discussed on the Arsenal Lounge yesterday, if you haven't yet gone and watched the Arsenal Lounge with myself, Mo, and Lev, go over to the Arsenal Lounge YouTube channel to make sure you go and check it out. We talked about how you kind of look at Saliba, and for me, you don't risk the guy. You don't throw him in against Liverpool unless he's absolutely ready. But the contract side of things is looking a lot more positive than the injury side of things. Fabrizio Romano again pushing through that there'll be more conversations with Saliba very soon and trying to extend his contract. There is conversations ongoing with his agents and talks will take place. The club are said to be confident, is my understanding, and hopefully a deal will be agreed before the end of the campaign. So, a big announcement that I need to discuss with you all. I tweeted this out yesterday, but for those that are unaware, this is for your benefit, of course. As you may know, Arsenal Vision are doing their yearly foundation fundraiser in which they look to raise as much money as possible. Last year, they raised just over £100,000, which is an amazing achievement. This year, after just over 48 hours, I believe, they've nearly raised that same figure, 97,000 last time I checked this morning. And I want to say that we are going to be joining forces with the Arsenal Vision in order to promote this foundation, in order to promote this fundraiser. As you know, all of the caps we sell, our TGT non-profit merchandise, half of that goes to the Arsenal Foundation anyway. So we're going to be pushing that money that would have gone to the Arsenal Foundation, where it's going anyway, into the fundraiser. And I'm actually going to match that up to £500. So should we sell £1,000 worth of our caps on the side of profit, obviously half of that goes to cancer and support, and that will still be going there. £500 of that, should we get to that figure, will be going there. And the other £500 that we're hoping to raise if we sell a few more cats, which I need to talk to you about shortly because there's an annoying frustration with that, will be going to the Arsenal Foundation. And I'm going to match that figure up to £500. So hopefully we'll be sending in at least £1,000 to the fundraiser for April. I've also said that all of the membership fees. So those that are TGT members, TGT expert members, TGT ambassadors, those of you that, of course, are members and contribute every month to help supporting the channel, every penny that is donated or that is received for the month of April will be donated to the fundraiser as well. So all of our memberships for what we receive in April will be going to the foundation and the fundraiser headed up by Elliot and the guys at the Arsenal Vision podcast as well. Now, this, annoyingly, I have a little bit of bad news on the side of this. With our embroidery manufacturer, they've had an issue with the machine, which is going to take a week and a bit, potentially 2 weeks to fix. So if you go to the store at the moment, you'll see that the hats say sold out. They're not sold out. It's just we have to put that they're sold out because you can't buy them at the moment until we get the machine fixed. There are people, this happened on Thursday, and there were obviously people that ordered hats on Thursday. We are working out a solution so that people that ordered their hats on that Thursday before we click the sold out turnover, hopefully should still get your hats. You will be getting an email if you've ordered anything in the last few days or so when they've had this issue. But in 2 weeks' time, hopefully it will be back underway and you'll be able to buy them. Still in time, of course, still in April, still able to raise money for the fundraiser. It's just the worst possible timing that this issue has happened. But hopefully we get some good news on that front very soon. And still on this side of things, with, of course, us joining forces with the Vision, I am very happy that I'm going to be joined tonight, 6 p.m. UK time, if indeed he wakes up, by Paul from the Arsenal Vision podcast, Poznan in my pants. You can find him on Twitter there. It's a brilliant Twitter handle, let's be honest. But Paul will be joining me this evening, 6 p.m. UK time, to talk about the managing of a title run-in. How do you manage the last 9 games? How do you use William Saliba? How do you use the squad? How does Leandro Trossard fit into things? Myself and Paul will be live from 6 p.m. UK time, talking all about a title run-in and how on earth Mikel Arteta should be looking at trying to manage it. So do set your alarms for 6 p.m. UK time this evening. Now, of course, before we go to part 2, I need to tell you that there are, the last time I checked, just 9 tickets remaining. I'm going to refresh my page because one may have gone in this time. Nope, still, indeed, there are 9 tickets left to win a signed Gabriel Martinelli shirt. You can get involved and also win a signed and framed Ray Parlour photo montage if it's not been won already, and plenty of football prizes, site credit as well. UK only. So, of course, please indeed do go into the link in the description if you want to get hold of, get a chance to get a hold of this shirt. As I say, 9 tickets left. Don't miss out on your chance. There's only 11 hours left of the competition. Let's see if we can sell it out in time. Okay, let's go to part 2 then, and your questions right after this. Okay, then, let's jump into the chat box and see the questions you guys are throwing in as well. Let's scroll up a little bit more and see what you guys, if I've missed anything as well. A lot of you are discussing Rafael Leao, it seems. Jason says, is Leao any good? Yes, in short. He's still, still young. He's still got things to develop in his game. But yeah, he's still very, very good and certainly would be an asset to the team, you'd have to say, moving forwards. Lee says St. Totteringham's Day soon. I saw that there was, people are trying to work out, of course, how we can get St. Totteringham's Day as soon as possible. We are now 22 points ahead of them with 9 games to go. So if there's 22 points... that means how many wins do you need within that 22 points? How many points are left in the season if there's 9 games? 27 points available, and they're 22 points behind. So if they lose 2 games or we were to win the rest, that could be St. Totteringham's Day at that. Well, surely a lot sooner than that. If we were to win 2 games and they lose their next 2 games, surely the gap goes to 28 points and there's no way they can catch us. If we win the next game, we'll go to 75 points. They lose the next game, they'll still be on 50 points. There's a 25-point gap with 8 games remaining. That surely is it not? Because they'd have to win and lose the rest of the games. I mean, I suppose we could then lose games, couldn't we? It's tricky. Look, maths at 8 a.m., I don't need it. I'm sitting here trying to work out all the mathematical implications of how we can somehow get St. Totteringham's Day. But there's probably loads of different routes to it still with this amount of games left. But if we win our next game, and they lose their next game, I think that gap then obviously extends to 25 points with 8 games left. So maybe 2 wins is what's needed. Maybe it's 2. Maybe I'm right in saying it's 2. As in, we have to win 2, and they have to then lose one of those 2. Why am I still trying? I don't know why I'm bothering. Let's go to Culture Marx's greetings, Tom. Great show as always. I believe that the stigma surrounding Rob Holding is unfair. I believe the better team around him, the better he plays. What's your view on this? I've discussed Rob a lot. I've really defended the guy a lot. I think that we need to back him, support him. And I agree with you. I think comparisons to the end of last season are a bit unfair. Cedric being to the right of him, Partey not being in midfield, the same Gabriel, but a very, very different Gabriel. He's come on a hell of a lot in the year since then, as has, I think, Ramsdale too. So, yeah, I think Rob Holding is in a good place, got good players around him, and he himself is a decent player. And we've got to remember that as well. And hopefully he can go to Anfield and prove that he's still worthy of wearing that Arsenal shirt. JC says, when do you think Saliba will return? No idea, mate. Sorry. Absolutely no idea. Camera Up says, what's your prediction for top 4 now? Arsenal, Man City, Newcastle, Brighton. Can you imagine Liverpool, Manchester United, Spurs and Chelsea all finishing outside the top 4? How funny would that be? Come on, Brighton. Let's we don't play. Do we play Brighton one more time? Yeah, we do. We play them at home, don't we? I think Man City play them at Brighton. That's going to be one to watch as a game too. So yes, let's keep our fingers crossed that Brighton can do the business and finish in the top 4, other than, of course, when they play us. Let's go to... thank you, Iceman. Much appreciates. P.S. Thank you for being such a great Arsenal podcast. I always look forward to hearing your bits on things that annoy you. Yeah, I have a habit of just telling everybody what really annoys me. Sharing my pain, people, is what I say. Sharing it indeed. Let's go to Masibulele says they can only finish at 77 points, Tom. Win the next 2. That's it. Doesn't matter their results in the next game. Cool. Good to know. Thank you. I appreciate people working out the mathematical equations when I'm barely awake in the mornings doing these shows. Christian says, who would you start against Liverpool up front? I think I get asked this every single show now. Jesus, Martinelli, Saka. It's as simple as that. Because if you think about it, you want Martinelli playing against Trent. You want that situation. You need that situation. That's going to be hilarious to watch. They may even choose to start someone else because it would just be too crazy to start Trent Alexander-Arnold. We're hoping. Imagine, you remember the days when we thought he was one of the best right backs ever, and coming through, he's going to grow to be one of the best right backs ever. And now it's like, please let us play against Trent Alexander-Arnold, because we know how vulnerable things can be with him in that right back slot. But it could be Joe Gomez, it could be James Milner. We'll have to wait and see who Jurgen Klopp decides to choose. But you can't. The only person that Trossard can replace in the front line for me at the moment is Jesus, because the best player he plays with is Martinelli. You can't swap out Martinelli for Trossard, because then you're taking out the best player that Trossard combines with, and you're not going to take out Saka for Trossard. Let's be real, because that's his worst position. Trossard on the front 3. His best position is probably centre forward. His next best position is on the left, and the right is probably the weakest of the 3. And Saka is going to be fit, raring to go on Sunday. So it has to be Martinelli, Jesus, who scored 2 goals, is in great amount of form, and Saka on the right. Shane says, unpopular opinion, but I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if he signs, could thrive at Arsenal if he can stay fit. He is the alternative striker that we need. Jesus, Nketiah and Balogun are all very similar. I haven't personally heard or even seen any legitimate claims of Dominic Calvert-Lewin being a target of Arsenal. I'm not aware of him being a target of Arsenal. And I've not seen any suggestions that he's a target of Arsenal. So I understand maybe that if he signs, makes me think you may have seen that somewhere. But I'm just saying, personally, I've not heard or seen anything of the like regarding that. MD says, better a draw. They will be more desperate if they lost, because they need to stop a slump and be stronger against us. So MD's reckons that it's better if Liverpool draw. Let's go to... Lucas says, I saw a video on Twitter of an athletic club player announcing his contract renewal live to the fans. Could you imagine if Arsenal did this with Saka? That'd be pretty cool. Or he did a goal celebration, lifted his shirt up, and he's got a T-shirt underneath that says Saka 2030, something like that. That'd be brilliant. That'd be fantastic. Maybe that's the way it should be done. And then Saliba going crazy and also doing the same thing. That'd be absolutely brilliant. Let's go to Wes Bird says, are you a game at a time person? Are you already daring to dream, Tom? I'm always the optimist, mate, but in this situation, I'm taking everything a game at a time. I can't even start to think about Arsenal actually lifting the league. It's too much of a dream. It's too much of an impossibility in my mind at the beginning of the campaign that I still can't get my head around that it's even possible. So very much so, I am taking things a game at a time. Amira says, random, but if you had to name your future kid after one of the current squad, just for the record, I'm not expecting. Who would it be? Men's or women's team? Who would it be? Can't have too many Gabbies in your life. If I could swing G into allowing us to name our kids Gabrielle, that would be hilarious. She's always liked the name Luca. So I imagine maybe, Luca's not an English name, not a typical name here. So maybe Gabrielle being, I don't know where Gabrielle as a name comes from. Obviously, we know a lot of Brazilians with Gabrielle. I don't know if the name comes from anywhere else. Maybe someone knows in the chat box. But if she likes Luca, maybe I could swing Gabrielle as like a middle name or something. Surely. Yeah. Thanks, Amira. You've put an idea in my head now. And it is going to be my mission to name my child's middle name Gabrielle. Let's go to James says, with Champions League football almost guaranteed, would you still choose Yuri Tielemans even if on a free, or do you think Arsenal need to aim? No, my mind's kind of moved on from Tielemans, to be honest. I think we should be looking at better players. I liked the idea of signing one a free in last summer. And even towards January, I was open to the idea, but I just think that we're now in a period where we need to be looking at some top midfielders. He's probably going to go to a Spurs, maybe even a Chelsea, maybe even a Barcelona who'll have a free contract. So I think Barcelona will certainly be looking at Tielemans. They're always looking at players they can try and sign on free deals. Let's go to, you get a red card for Luca. At least Tottenham did, yeah. Gabriel comes from the name of Angel Gabriel. Is that actually where it originates? Is that the first time it ever was used? Maybe, potentially. It would make sense, to be fair. So there you go. Let's go to Wilson says, do you think Gary Neville was out of order for saying that Zinchenko is not a leader? Out of order is probably the wrong way of putting it. He was just wrong. He wasn't out of order to suggest that he thought he wasn't a leader. That's just an opinion. It's not out of order to suggest he's not a leader. He was just wrong. He was just wrong in his assessment of that, because obviously, absolutely, Zinchenko is a leader on the field without a shadow of a doubt. CM says, Tom, I sent you an email to you. Thanks, mate. I'll give that a read a little bit later on. I haven't had time to check it this morning, but I'll definitely give it a read. Thanks for sending it through. You can contact me by anyone that doesn't have Twitter or Instagram and needs to send me a message. If you go to my football.london page, there is a little email tab there. You can send me emails if you need to get in contact. Bambino says, Tom, I think you need to be more positive at this stage of the season. It's the irony of someone telling me to be more positive. It's always an irony I enjoy. I think that I am very positive. I am optimistic. I do think, and I have felt that we can win the title and that we are favourites for the title. I'm going to look at the 538. I haven't had a look at the 538 sports predictions. Let's have a quick look. Club soccer predictions. Premier League. That's what I want. So at the moment, we are 51% and Man City are 49%. That's how close they still think it is. I'm surprised by that, to be honest, considering the gap that we have to Man City. But they still have it as basically 50-50 and only Arsenal just edging things. So that's very interesting indeed. Luca is an Italian name, yes. I've been to the city. I've been to the town of Luca in Florence. Not Florence, in Tuscany. It's very, very nice indeed. So yeah, I should have really clicked that it is certainly Italian. Adam, Lynn's coming in with she knows everything, mate. You can't judge Lynn. She knows absolutely everything about everything. If you ever need anything, just message Lynn. James says, I do not advocate any form of trolling, but can we all spam Gary Neville social? That's fun, isn't it? I don't advocate any form of trolling, but can we troll Gary Neville, is what you're saying. Of course, we don't advocate any form of abusive trolling. However, there's nothing wrong with a good old bit of fun. And I think that everyone's sending in the league table if Arsenal were to win the league, or pictures of Arsenal holding the Premier League trophy to Gary Neville. That's not trolling. That's not abusive. That's just a bit of fun. Absolutely go and do it. Just send in pictures of the league title. There's also that really irritating Liverpool fan as well that you've probably seen him pop up on your socials. Apparently he's not a very nice guy. I had some really bad things said about that he's put out on social media in the past, but for some reason he's able to spread his views all over my Twitter feed when it still pops up. So I've muted him, thankfully. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there that need to be reminded of the facts if indeed Arsenal do lift the trophy, which, touch wood, will happen. Let's go to Ollie says, hey Tom, who would you like to finish outside of the top four, United or Spurs? Spurs. I hate United, don't get me wrong, but my ingrained Arsenal hatred, the Arsenal hatred of Spurs is always going to trump anything else, which is an ironic word to use in that sentence. So yeah, the hatred I have, my Arsenal hatred towards Spurs, is always going to trump everything. Let's go to Wilson says, why on earth are pundits so bitter and reluctant about Arsenal's title aspirations? Because people don't like being wrong, Wilson. It's as simple as that. I don't like being wrong. A lot of people don't like to be wrong, and that's why you can get into so many debates on Twitter that never end, never, ever, ever end, because people don't like being wrong, and I don't like being wrong. And, you can never, ever convince someone to change their mind, in my opinion. You can never, ever convince someone to change their mind. Two things change people's minds: facts and evidence, and then they choose to change themselves. Or, of course, you question them into a place where they go and they question their own view, and then they change their mind. But you can't convince them. You can't just be going, oh, this guy's better than this guy, because X, Y, Z. It's very difficult to be able to do that. So unfortunately, people don't like to be wrong. And there's a lot of pundits out there. A lot of people were tweeting me an article written by, I think it was a Liverpool Echo writer yesterday. Let me see if I can find it in my Twitter mentions. I was sure that I was tagged in it. Let's have a look. Oh, yes. King tweeted it to me. It was an article, it was a piece written by Ian Doyle, who's the chief Liverpool reporter, I think, at the Echo, who said, 8 points clear going into the final 2 months of the season. It will require arguably one of the worst capitulations in Premier League history for Arsenal not to win the title, which is ironic considering Liverpool's capitulation, if you remember that one, the Brendan Rodgers. The fact is, so much has gone for the Gunners this season. Lack of injuries, troubles at their rivals, general officiating decisions, teams not taking them seriously, minimal pressure and expectation from the national media, that their ability to take advantage of situations that has been forged for a few years under Mikel Arteta is now bearing fruit. In any normal season, they'd be fourth. But this isn't a normal season, and a failure to do the finish the job now would damage the reputation of all involved considerably. Arsenal can't blow it now. What a load of twaddle! Like what? I mean, I cannot take that seriously. And I said in response, like when someone tagged me in it, I can only imagine that and I was frustrated reading it, that is what it's designed to do, is to frustrate Arsenal fans. Yeah. I mean, the list of things here, the lack of injuries. I'm sorry. We've lost our star player for half of the season. We then, before he came back, lost our other striker for another period of a couple of months. We've lost our arguably best defender, even though I think Gabriel's been better. We lost our best defender to a back injury in the worst part of the season, meaning he's going to miss probably the Liverpool game. Of course, we've had other injuries at points of the season. We lost Partey for the Manchester United game. And we've had obviously other players missing. We've had players unwell during periods. We've missed Saka. Saka didn't start the game at the weekend. And then you go on to officiate, like general officiating decisions. We've had two apologies for referees this year. We've had the Man United situation, and then a referee forgot to check an offside. General refereeing decisions apparently have gone our way, even though we're owed 2 more points based upon what's happened. And minimal pressure and expectation for the national. Look, we're Arsenal Football Club. The pressure and expectation is there every single season, no matter what, guys. The pressure is there. Teams not taking them seriously. And it was as soon as I read the words teams not taking them seriously that I realized this is written purely to agitate, to get a reaction. And it has worked because I'm here sitting here talking about it. It's ludicrous. It's frankly ridiculous. But it will continue to happen. I'm tempted to write about something along the lines of, the way that Arsenal have been portrayed this season, the apologies that need to be written this season. Even if Arsenal finish second, right, the season they have had compared to what people expected is madness. It's a mental campaign that Arsenal have had. And it's nothing to do with external factors of people not taking us seriously or a lack of pressure. As if teams genuinely are affected by pressure from the media. I'm in the media. I'm a journalist. I write about football. I write about Arsenal. And I know for a fact that it's not pressure from people like myself that affect. If you're a footballer, if you're a manager, if you're in a top level team, what's written, what's being said, and take online abuse aside because it's a separate thing, but punditry and articles that are talking about the level of football specifically, nothing social, just the football, that doesn't matter. It's negligible at best. It just honestly, things bug me so much when I read and hear suggestions about Arsenal this season. It's fashionable to bash us because we're a reactionary fan base, as I am demonstrating right now, and I'm well aware of that fact. We love being poked, and we love we love being challenged, and it works because it gets a reaction. But yeah, I might write something along these lines today. Let's go to boom, 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 boom. Yeah, some of these comments I can't read out now. Let's go to Christopher says, Tom, in order, can you rate these managers? Thomas Frank, Roberto De Zerbi, Eddie Howe, and Marco Silva. Sure. Roberto De Zerbi has done a brilliant job, and you have to put him first. Eddie Howe probably comes next. I think even, in the situation, the money that Newcastle have had, still done an amazing job. Thomas Frank next, followed by Marco Silva. I think they're all good managers. Marco Silva just is the worst of a good bunch, if that makes sense. I think they're all good. And I think the work that Thomas Frank has done to get Brentford promoted and establish them in the Premier League, and now they're even competing for a European place. Amazing work. Amazing work. Mohammed says, hey, Tom, are you worried about Salah versus Zinchenko? We know that obviously Zinni is not that great defensively. Do you see Tierney having a big role to play in this match from the bench? Thanks. What are your thoughts? I don't necessarily think that Tierney has necessarily much of an influence on this game. He may come on towards the end, potentially. We might reinforce that side by bringing him on with Zinchenko and go to a back five if the situation arrives. But am I worried? I'm more worried about Salah versus Zinchenko than I was with Salah versus Tomiyasu, but not necessarily. I think Gabriel is the one that Salah should be worried about trying to beat. So that's where I'm kind of at with that at the moment. Sam says, Rob Holding at Anfield, God help us. I'm not going to watch it. My heart can't handle it. No, people writing this man off. Let's wait and see. Let's just wait and see what happens. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Do leave a comment on anything that we've talked about that you've got your own thoughts on. Anything that I specifically said, do make sure to leave your minutes so I can address when it was said in the video. And of course, do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. I'll be back tonight, 6 p.m. UK time. Make sure you join myself and Paul from the Arsenal Vision podcast to talk about how we manage a title run in, how we deal with the stresses and strains of what is going to be coming up for us in the future, the inclusion of people like Leandro Trossard, Kieran Tierney, Rob Holding, and when we bring William Saliba back, and if we ever have a choice in that fact. Of course, other players have got parts to play too, Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira. We're going to be talking about all of it and more. And of course, if you can, donate to the Arsenal Vision's cause. I recommend you do. If you just go to their page, type in Arsenal Vision, or go to Elliot's page on Twitter at Yankee Gunner, you can find all of the information to be able to donate. But of course, as I say, we will be donating hopefully over £1,000 to the charity, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'm so proud that we're able to do this, so proud that we're able to support this cause, because it's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. I'll see you again later this afternoon. And if not, I'll see you again tomorrow morning, same time, same place. And yeah, have a fantastic Tuesday. See you soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.